Hi guys, this is our second reading comprehension lesson this week, and today we'll be looking at a poem. So the text we're looking at today is called Sky Train, and it is a poem. And what I've done is I've screenshotted over two slides, just so we can get a really good look at the pictures in it. All right, let's have a look at the text. So if you can have a look at the picture here first, it's got some really nice colors around it, sort of magical looking, I guess, and bright and colorful as well. A nice sort of color tones there, especially I think that because it's got a bit of pink in it. And let's have a read of it now. So the title is Sky Train, and in the poem is written by Brian Jean Olson and illustrated by Ana Maria Mendez Salgado. That's a very long name. This train I'm on is crazy. It lifted off the rails, and now we're soaring through the clouds, blazing skyward trails. I grip my seat. I can't let go. I'm thoroughly confused. But out my window I can see the birds are all amused. So what's happened is this person is on a train, and now all of a sudden it's lifted off its rails, like off the railway line, and it's flying through the sky. And when the person looks out the window, they can see the birds, and the birds are laughing at him, or look happy, or think that it's funny that the train is flying through the sky. The geese give us a friendly honk. We whistle back a toot. The skylarks laugh. The hawks just gawk. The owls think it's a hoot. Okay, I'm calm. It's kind of fun. What else is there to do? I guess I'll just enjoy the ride. Chugga, chugga, chew. So in this section of the text here, they're using a lot of words that are sounds, and what we call that is onomatopoeia. So if you want to pause the video for a second and practice saying that word, onomatopoeia, means a word that means a sound. So some of the words in here is toot. So we know toot toot, that's a sound. The word for that is toot. We also have chugga chugga chew, which is sort of like the sound that the train is making. So it's saying as well in this text that these are the things that the different types of birds are doing, and the character is actually enjoying the train flying through the sky now, because he thought the train was a bit boring at the start. All right, today's activity that we're doing in relation to the text we've just read is quite a fun one. So we're going to be creating a comic strip to match the poem we have just read. But let's have a look at the comic strip from our school magazine on the right here, and then we're going to have a think about some of the questions that I've got listed here. So the comic strip is Monkey, Bug, Rabbit, and Goose, and I'm sure some of you recognize this from your school magazines. I know everyone loves reading the comic strips in their school magazines, and usually sometimes people race to the back or the front of the magazine to see that straight away because each month the comic strip story carries over. So we have the monkey saying, "Don't be like that, Goose. We're your friends. We don't mind if you're missing a few feathers. I'm staying here. I know what this is like. Leave things with me and take a hike." "Monkey, there's Goose. You sure you two don't hear something? Back there with Fuzzy feeling very shy after losing so many feathers. No, I look silly and I'm not coming out. Even with your feathers loose, you're still a goose. Here's a bear without any hair, but I don't care. Wow, you are a hairless bear, and happy in the skin I'm in. Looks like Fuzzy has got Goose out of the bushes. I hear something now, Rabbit, and can see it too." So what we're going to think about is, are the boxes or the panels all the same size and shape, or do they vary, and why? So what I want you to think about with that is, with a comic strip here, all of the boxes here are not even. They're not all the same size. They've been given different sizes for different reasons. So the first box here has been given a bit of a landscape, a bit of a larger box size, probably because it's introducing the story back in, and it's wanting us to regather where we were left off from the previous month. Then we've got a smaller one here compared to the rest, because this section, I guess, isn't as important or doesn't need as much space doesn't need to take up as much space to tell the story. So we have different size squares and panels in our comic strip depending on what we are saying in the boxes. So how do we know what the characters are saying? They are using speech marks here, and sometimes the other thing they use is speech bubbles. So that would be when there's a little bubble, and that means that it's the thought the character is saying, they're not saying it aloud. How are sound effects / onomatopoeias shown? Have you seen sound effects shown differently in other comics or cartoons you have read? So sometimes what you might see is, let's say for example, this fly that's come in here, you might see one square beforehand with maybe a close-up of the fly, and it might be his wings going flap, 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 flap. Or you might see a comic strip where it has boom just as the first thing, and that tells us maybe there's been an explosion or something like that. So onomatopoeia is sometimes shown differently. The sounds are shown differently in comic strips, and that's really to make it interesting for the reader. So now let's have a think about how we're going to make a comic strip for the poem we have just read. So the first step is we're going to write 4 short, simple sentences that summarize the story, and these will be used to guide you when you draw the 4 boxes and pictures for your comic strip. So our summary sentence could be, the first one, a passenger is traveling on a train. As simple as that and as short as that. We don't want our 4 summary sentences to be very long. Now as well, the second step for each dot point is to add another sentence which shows what the passenger on the train is thinking during that part of the story. So the character thought that might mention this summary sentence is, I'm a bit bored, this train is taking forever. Okay, so that's something he might be thinking as matching the summary sentence of a passenger is traveling on a train. You can see that these 2 sentences are quite short and simple because really that poem was quite short and simple. So we're looking for 4 simple sentences summarizing the story and 4 character thoughts that you can have matching the summary sentence. So you will end up with a total of, 8 sentences that will then help you form your comic strip. All right, so what do we want to see in your comic strip? We want you to use the 4 dot points you have created before to tell the story in 4 squares. We want you to use a range of shapes and sizes for your squares, like in the example comic strip we looked at before. We want to see some different close-ups of the character traveling on the train, or maybe the bird that he's looking at outside the window to show us what is happening. And we want you to present some of the onomatopoeia words from the poem in an eye-catching way. So you might have used the word toot, like in the poem before, and you might have that in some fancy sort of writing on your comic strip to present that a bit differently. You can also use thought bubbles to show what the passenger is thinking during the journey, and we created those sentences before as well, and trying to use some bright colours as well. So what you'll need is a piece of paper and maybe a ruler if you have one, or a book with a straight edge to draw up your squares for your comic strip. You want to write down your sentences. You can type them into your Google Doc or write them on a piece of paper is fine. So 4 sentences summarizing the story and 4 character thoughts. And then you can take a photo of your comic strip and upload it into your Google Doc, or you can just type your sentences into your Google Doc, and you don't have to upload your photo of your comic strip if you're not able to do that. That's fine. I am really, really excited and looking forward to seeing your work on this, and I hope you enjoyed as well because I know how much people love comic strips.